Yeah, thank you very much, Ulrich. Thank you very much, Estelle, for not only the presentation, but being with us during the convention. And again, I'm looking forward to using with you the technology for the post tour. And if WFTJ may try it out as well for our international training centers, that would be a really nice way to learn. Yeah, things are changing. So technology is, as we all know by now, our helper. It might be, all change is difficult, and technology might be a little bit, of a fright or fear factor to begin with. But if it's introduced by people, help us and work with us, it's very, very easy. And there's so many things out there. So we are staying on the theme of technology and also on the theme of business. I don't know how many tourist guides, how many of us are considering ourselves as business people, but let's face it, we are in the end providing a service, and we are running our own businesses. So Janice, our next speaker, Janice Sousa from Indie Travel, has come up with a platform, so called Indie, a software that can help or build businesses launch our, it can help small operators like tourist guides to launch their own businesses. So Janice has more than 15 years of experience as tour operator and guide. She works for herself, leading tours, and has always led and rebuilt businesses for more control over margins and distribution. So this is what she's going to share with us today, how she did it for herself and how we can do it, maybe using certain tools for ourselves as well. So very good business speech, leveraging e-commerce for tours and activities. Janice, are you with us?
I am. Good afternoon. Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. Perfect. Let me just, I'm going to share my screen if I can. I don't think I can share my screen while you all are sharing the screen. So thank you very much. Apologies. All right. So please do let me know if something goes pear-shaped. So I think you should all be able to see that. If someone could confirm, please and thank you.
Yes, you can see it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Perfect. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I apologize I can't be with you in person in Madrid, but I'm very grateful to join you nonetheless, all the way from cold and much more snowy Toronto, Canada. So you have definitely made the wise choice in terms of weather today. And as was very graciously introduced, I am the co-founder of a company called Indie Travel, and we help guides and tour directors and tour owners who both work for the large operators as tour directors and tour managers, but also run their own business. And increasingly, many of us as a former guide do this. You kind of live in both of these worlds. And what we've realized at Indie is that a lot of us hear these terms around e-commerce and booking channel and reservation manager, and a lot of us don't know what they mean, or perhaps we've conflated the ideas. And so today I'm going to spend just a few brief minutes telling you about me and about Indie, but actually a lot more time talking about e-commerce and how you as small business owners, if you're already owning a business or thinking of embarking on this, can use some of these tools to your advantage. And I believe this is being recorded, but you're welcome to email me after as well for a copy of this, if it's helpful. So my background, I actually spent many, many years as a guide and tour operator across Latin America, Africa, and Asia. I ended up selling that company and then came to the dark side and founded a couple travel tech companies with the goal of helping both operators and tour guides. And so that's what Indie is today. Indie is a simple to use tool for tour guides who run their own products. So you have your own tour or tours that you sell through the OTAs, Expedia, Viator, etc. Or more often than not, you sell direct. So customers come to your Facebook, your Instagram, and they buy directly from you. We help you manage your business. We help you make sure you don't get double booked. We help you make sure you price that tour accurately. We help you make sure that the tour title, is titled correctly so that you land up on page 1 We know that travelers are potentially lazy and won't scroll through to the second page. And so we basically help you optimize your business so that you can continue to grow your own business's revenues while you still work for the larger operators. That being said, today I want to talk a little bit about how you can leverage this whole world of e-commerce. And so this is a word that certainly in the last 18 months has been thrown around quite a lot. We've all heard it quite a lot. But I thought I'd start from kind of level setting all of us. E-commerce is really, and this is going to sound very obvious, but e-commerce is any commercial transaction conducted on the internet. And the internet is your phone increasingly, it's your desktop, it's your laptop, it's your smartwatch, etc. And so by default, all of us are involved in e-commerce for one way or another, whether we are cognizant of that or not. And I don't want to say bad news, but maybe the news is that you're probably underutilizing some great tools to help you drive more revenues to your tours if you own your own business. And so what I want you to think about is this can be very overwhelming very quickly. So what I would encourage you to think about is just 4 pillars that work together. So the way to run an e-commerce kind of business, whether you're selling a tour, an activity, an experience, a self-guided walking tour, etc., is you need a website, you need marketing, you need business management, and then you need analytics to tell you how well the other 3 are performing. So let's talk a little bit about those. You need a website. You need tools to help you set up a website and to manage it. We could spend a whole day on just a plethora of website tools out there. What I would say, for every person that loves one, you can find 2 detractors. And so this ends up being a fairly personal choice. The ones you would pick are dependent on your region, the type of tour, your budget, your time, your interest in learning. All these things kind of fall into the mix. These are the ones that are most often used in tours and activities. But there's truly like 50 more I could put on here. And so I would say is if you're thinking of running your business or you have a business and you're not quite happy with your website today, the first place I would start with is asking another guide. I can give you all the recommendations I'd like, and every kind of tech person can give you recommendations that they would recommend, but ultimately asking someone who's in your shoes today is going to give you the best recommendation. The second thing I would say is try it out, try 2 or 3 out for 30 minutes max. If it's not interesting to you or intuitive within 30 minutes, it won't be. And so that should be your kind of litmus test for testing out a new website. And of course, and this is a bit of a shameless plug, you can email us for recommendations. So you can email me and say, I'm a guide in Berlin and I'm starting to run food tours. What should I use? And what we'll do is we'll go to our community and ask all the food tour guides and say, what do you all use? Asking another guide in your city who doesn't run a similar product to yours might not be helpful. So I wouldn't necessarily ask the cycling tour guide in Berlin. I would find the other food tour guides to make sure it's the best recommendation for your business. So website is kind of that first leg on that stool for setting up your business. The second one is marketing. So these are all tools to drive traffic, convert the traffic that comes to your website or to your social media, and to build your brand. And so again, I could list dozens of companies and logos that can help you do this. Everyone that I've listed today on each of these slides is free forever, or certainly has a 2 to 4 week free trial. You can build a very robust tours and activities business, even if it's something you only do once a month, with a lot of free tools. And so that's what I would leave you with today, is you do not need to spend tons of money on this to get your business up or to even try running a business. Before you go and invest time and money potentially in any of these, is I would start to fill it what I would call a buyer persona. And so this is who is your ideal customer. It doesn't mean you're going to say no to other customers, of course, but if you run that graffiti walking tour in Berlin, you know who's going to be your ideal customer. It might be someone between 25 and 40. They might be 70% female in terms of your travelers. They might not have children yet. They might work as a knowledge worker, etc. And so you can start to fill out who that is. And the reason to do that is not to leave it there, but then you can start to think about, okay, if that person's on social media, are they on Instagram or Facebook? And really then you start to think about, okay, so then I should also be on Instagram. If I think my person kind of looks like this in terms of demographics, it should really dictate where you as a business owner spend a lot of your time. Because what can happen in marketing is you can feel like, oh, I need to be on TikTok and LinkedIn and YouTube and 60 other places. Not really. Figure out the 1 or 2 places where your consumers are, where they spend the most time, and then just focus your time there as well, right? If you know that your ideal buyer is not on TikTok, doesn't even know how to log into TikTok, and has no interest, then you should be the same. Unless you have a personal interest in it, but otherwise I would ignore it altogether. And that goes to the second point, is to create and test your content. If you're unclear where your person is today on the internet, test something everywhere and it'll become very obvious where your ideal person is. And then lastly, and perhaps an obvious point, but something we don't do enough, is ask your current customers, even if they came with you a few years ago, ask them, where did they find out about you? You will probably guess 60% of the time where they found out about you, but the real true richness in the answers is the 40% of the times where you're going, oh, I didn't realize they found me on Facebook, or they saw one post on LinkedIn. I would really spend some time, even asking 10 customers will give you some interesting insights. So these are the things you can do to market or get your tours out there. And the third leg on that stool, if you're setting up your tours business, is this idea of business management. And these are tools to help you manage the day-to-day operations, the logistics, your finances, all the stuff that we all need to do, but we don't necessarily look forward to for most of us. And so the first thing I would say is, I'm calling it perform a time audit, but really get a scratch pad or notebook and write down all the time you're spending doing tasks that frankly you don't enjoy or that take a lot of time. This could be setting up your social media accounts. It could be coordinating calendars, whatever that looks like for you. And then I would set a goal of automating 1 process a month. And again, a lot of these tools that I've set here are free or have free versions that you can use. And for most of us, the free version is more than enough in terms of feature sets. What I would say is, if you're a guide who is running their own business, but part-time, maybe you're running 1 to 2 tours a week or a month even, you can run that business quite robustly and efficiently on a lot of free tools and spending less than 1 to 2 hours a month on it. You should not be spending more time on it than you want to. There's tools like Zapier, which helps you automate things. So it sends information from things like Google from an email into an Excel sheet, if that's important to you, over to your waiver system, if you have waivers, etc. So a lot of these tools, we can kind of go down rabbit holes, but there's lots of tools, so you don't have to do tedious data entry or copying and pasting stuff. There's lots of stuff that can help you automate that, frankly. And then last is kind of, if we think of the other 3 as the stools on running your business, the stool legs on running your business, analytics sits on top. And analytics can sound like an intimidating thing. It's really just, are you collecting data and are you looking at the data with some frequency so that you can make changes? And for most of us who are running a tours business, even full-time, looking at the data once a month is more than enough. If you start to look at it weekly, it can become a bit obsessive, and you know that you can't affect change in that short of time. So I would say here, these are tools to help you understand if your website's performing well, if the marketing is performing well, and if your operations are performing well. And so if you haven't done it today and you do run your own business, I would set up your free Google Analytics account. We help people do this. You can reach out to us after, happy to help you do it. It will tell you, simple things. Where are people finding your website? How are they finding it? How long are they spending there? More importantly, what page are they exiting your website from, right? What page is not convincing them to the point that they're leaving? Those are small things, but critical as you continue to invest in yourself and your business. Ensuring your website is properly tracking can be a bit finicky, so we're happy to help you with that. And then the last thing is just pick 3 things to improve. So if you know, hey, I'm going to spend a lot of time on Instagram getting people here, and I'm going to devote myself to making Instagram content, then one of your metrics should be getting more people going from your Instagram to your website, right? And you can track that with your free Google Analytics account. Again, these are all free things here. I'm happy to go into specifics if you're curious or if you're interested. But analytics are key. You don't really know how the other 3 are working. And then you pull it all together, website plus marketing plus business operations kind of overlaid with your analytics is your e-commerce strategy. And this can seem really intimidating, and it is. As you take your first steps in, there's lots of options. You know, you saw all the choices and recommendations I have. There's lots of options for all of us. But this is how consumers, including you and I, are buying everything now, including tours and activities. And so the sooner you can start to tippy toe into this kind of world and understanding the tools that are out there for you, the more successful you will be, and that the more you'll start to understand the levers in your tours business. And that's it. I will stop sharing my screen so I can take some questions. Thank you, everyone. Just see here. There we go.
Thank you very much for that presentation from Indie Travel. A lot of insightful information and I think a lot of homework for some people to do. Are there any questions in the room? And do we have any questions in the chat? I think what you have done as well is lay the groundwork as well for the next speaker who will take us a bit more into the nuts and bolts around the website. But what you've done is open up a whole new way of thinking with what we have existing websites already and how to take it to the next level with the e-commerce that you introduced as well. Do you have any additional comments? Is she still online? I can't see her.
Oh, I'm here still, yeah.
There we go. Do you have questions, Sebastian?
Over there. Just from the tech side, we are very impressed that you use Zapier and all those tools. And I just can say that I'm running a company with a lot of tours each year, about 15,000 tours. We work together with 300 to 600 freelancers guides, and we do it just with one office, with one virtual assistant, because we use all the tools. So everything is connected, everything is automatically done. And that saves us so much money in the office and everybody is happy. So yeah, this is the new way forward. Thank you for that. We have to contact.
Yeah, well, that's great. I'm a big fan of Zapier. I should be getting referral money from them, but I'm not. I'm just a big fan of it.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. I think there's a question here. I think Jim.
Oh.
Jim Cart. Hi, Jim. Nice to see you. So he asked, what are some of the most common mistakes or missteps made by people starting out? I think it's a great question because we should all learn from each other's mistakes and make new mistakes together. I would say there's this temptation, and it's a strong one, to feel like you have to spend lots of money. You know, I need to spend 500 euros on a new website, and I need to do Facebook ads, and I need to spend lots of money. And I would really encourage you that you don't need to, you know, just like we were talking, there's free things like Zapier. Really, you spending the thing, if I was starting a tours business today, the thing I would spend money on is a paid website, you have to, a domain. And those two combined would be about 30 euros a month. And so outside of that, until I could see which levers were worth spending money, I would test things for free as much as possible. And so that would be the one, is feeling like you need to spend money because it feels like, oh, I can have this silver bullet or short circuit if I spend 50 euros on Facebook ads. You might eventually get there if your travelers are on Facebook, but I would make sure you've proven that first. And then the second thing, and this is common for so many of us, is feeling like you need the website to look perfect to the way it feels in your head. But we know, you know, that our perfection is probably the top shelf. And for most people, they just want to be able to find your tours. And particularly this year, we know travelers are coming back in a way that probably we won't see in the rest of our working lives for the next 18 months. And so if you are thinking of a tour and you're prepared to run it this summer, I would get a website up in the next month. And I would get it out there so that travelers who are coming to your country or to your city can find it. Because what's going to happen, and I know it doesn't feel this way today, but there's going to be a supply problem, right? And so if you can make sure that travelers know about your product and it's out there, in the summer that's coming and the years that are the next 18 months, when we know there's going to be this big watershed, it will serve you well. So yeah, if you're thinking of running this summer, I would set a goal for yourself to get your website live by April 1st, even if it's not perfect, even if you want to make tweaks, you can always do it.
Some valuable advice. So definitely be flexible, shop around before committing, use what's freely available before committing, and then lower your expectations slightly just so that you meet reality in getting something doable within a month.
Yes.
Great advice. Thank you so much. Do we have any other questions in the chat, or can we move on to the next speaker? Just looking at the time.
Yes.
We're good. So thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful having you joining us, and we hope to see you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.